nervous and a bit unsettling. What to do? Where was Sebastian when you and Anne found him?
Just ahead, in the great room. This many inferior before.
And there's no sign of Sebastian.
Confringo. Defender. I was so worried about Sebastian. When she first saw the inferior,
The carvings on the relic.
not exactly. As Anne and I, when Anne said she could...
Solomon threatened to go to the headmaster.
I need to get to Hogwarts. I'll be back as soon as... Be careful.
Confringo!
Isn't this incredible?
Sebastian,
I told you, the relic is the answer. I've been trying to reverse the dark magic that injured Anne, but this will allow me to control it. Just as I can control the inferi.
control. I had to fight the inferior all the way.
What have the two of you done? Accio Rabbit!
Solomon, go! Run it! You're paying for this!
Teresa.
And what have you done? I must get out of here.
I can't let him leave. Sebastian, wait! Stop, Sebastian. Hold on.
They had to close down a lot of facilities because of financial struggles. So the Terra has a never say no policy, which means if an animal needs help and they're aware of the situation, they'll bring it in, they'll build it, they'll make sure they strive and they enjoy their life. 150. This is just one post. So see all the construction of the parasites in law. So you already build facilities in advance so that if there is situations that you have to bring bears in, you've got already a facilities and a setup for them. That is so amazing. And where is this ending?
What is it?
The boss has made a pledge to all animals that as long as any animal
Why wouldn't you stop?
Anne won't survive this. She's withering away. He gave up on her. You saw him, didn't you? He was going to ruin her life. If I hadn't known it.
getting its treatment and its care, he has the facility ready by the time it comes out of quarantine. If it doesn't exist, that's the commitment. Yeah, that is
He did attack us. You had no choice. It was brave, Sebastian. You clearly care more about Anne than your uncle ever did.
I knew you'd understand. I did do the right thing.
You did. I would have done the same. If I knew how.
I could teach you.
No time like the present.
The killing curse won't be easy to master. As with all. Hold your one steady. Focus. The incantation is Avada Kedavra. Your intention must be clear. I can't stay here. I need to find Ominous.
Sebastian.
Please, I'm not myself right now. Let's meet later at the Undercroft, all right?
Socializing
somehow the key to opening the room. How about some sightseeing?
Professor Rackham, my memories should...
Thank you, Professor.
Hello? Isadora? Isadora? Mr. Morgan,
Son, I'm glad you're here.
Isadora was not at her home.
I know.
Her father. Percival.
What is it?
It is as though he was stripped not only of his pain, but of all emotion.
Everything is much worse than I feared. Neve was right. Isadora hasn't stopped. I've just learned that she has been wielding that magic on students.
We must gather the others. I need you to return to your common room, all right?
What have you done? Students, Isadora.
Everyone feels pain. And why? Because of your arrogance, obsession with secrets. You won't suffer any longer. Not my father, not my students. No one.
Isadora, set down your wand.
want me to hone my power, not throw it away.
I did not teach you this. Expelliarmus!
No. Mal wieder.
The cavern's below Hogwarts.
It is. We also realize, hence, we built the trap.
Have I not proved?
You have.
So the repository is safe.
If he is, as you suspect, capable...
Then I must go now.
Another Ollivander. I'm not surprised. As I return with the wand...
I shall send an owl ahead.
Professor Weasley.
If Ranrock really is...
All right, Professor.
Your field guide. I'm most pleased to be with you.
She's devastated. She just buried your uncle alone.
I did it for her.
Sebastian, Anne can't bear the thought of turning you in, but
What? Turn me in? She saw what happened.
I'll give you some time to think, Sebastian.
Turn me in?
Sebastian.
Did you hear that? You saw what happened. I never wanted to hurt my uncle.
I know.
I can't believe he's gone. How did things go so wrong? Oh, you understand.
don't know what to do, Sebastian.
You don't know. I only hope she can... No matter what happens from here, I'm glad we met.
Poor Sebastian. Ominous. What a mess. Before I had... She was...
We do have a choice. What good will it do to turn him in now? He clearly regrets everything.
We've both...
But we also need to think about Anne.
We'd only be punishing... I'll talk to Anne.
Thank you, Ominous.
Whatever lies ahead, we must face it together. That I know.
Steve thinks you've made marvelous improvements here.
I'd like to ask you about changing the room's ambience. Actually,
Doran. Meet me in the Forbidden Forest and we can tell him about a symbol the Mooncarves made.
wishes you safe and wondrous travels.
There's Ollivander's. I hope he can help me craft the Keeper's wand. Hello, Mr. Oliver.
Good to see you. They were pleased to learn, even if it was.
Glad to hear it.
Now, he was...
Yes, sir.
Oh, no. I will be honest. Repaired, broken. I think I can... It is down. I should warn you, I've never seen a wand like this before. My suspicion, as Professor Fig implied in his letter, is that it serves a unique purpose. I doubt you shall find much use for it otherwise.
I understand. Thank you, sir.
I'm afraid you're on your own. I've ensured that we have a moment to ourselves. Oh, come, come. No need for such theatrics. In light of what Ranrock now knows, you must agree that our interests are aligned.
Our interests will never be aligned.
You would let goblins take what is rightfully ours? The final repository belongs to wizard kind. We would be fools not to work together. What's that you've got there? Might this sudden visit to the Wand Maker have something to do with our mutual pursuit?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That repository is my birthright.
Charles Rookwood wouldn't have wanted you near it.
The arrogance. Should have known better than to try and reason with a child. I've always said, children should be seen and not heard. Allow me to put you out. I'm gonna have some breakfast here.
Another pitiful creature.
I'll make you wish you were back at school.
Glacius, the finger.
You've made a great.
Expelliarmus, Confringo. Accio. Repulsor, Bombard.
You should have joined me.
I can't believe it. Rookwood's reign is finally over. I'll need to send an owl to Natty right away. For now, though, I need to get back to the map chamber and tell Fig what happened. Expelliarmus! Confringo! The beasts around here can sleep a bit easier now. Victor Rookwood.
Godric's heart.
He would have killed me once he found the repository.
You're right.
Thank you for saying.
All right then.
You have completed all of our trials, and you have done so under circumstances even I did not foresee. You understand now why all of this was necessary. The portkey, the vault, the locket, the book, the trials. To ensure that one with the ability you and I share would make the same choice that San, Neve, Charles, and I did.
Now that you have witnessed my memory, you understand all that is at stake. Not everyone is what they seem.
As you know, light does not exist without shadow, nor shadow without light. Simply because you can eliminate darkness does not always mean.
I should hope that the enchantments protecting the castle would protect against an incursion from below.
I fear they may not. Although, if they don't now, I can assure you they will in the future.
Were you able to reach Professor Weasley?
I was. Hopefully she and the others will arrive soon. They know where to find the door through which we entered.
Let's go.
If his loyalists are here, he cannot be far behind.
You and I have faced worse, Professor. This drill stands between us and him. We need to move. way forward.
Very perceptive for a young friend. It would. Let's go.
Expelliarmus! Expelliarmus! Stupid! Confringo! Confringo! Expelliarmus!
Let's get it.
These tunnels haven't brought us much luck so far.
We're getting closer, Professor. That way.
The goblins have somehow evaded the castle's defensive charms.
Steer them this way! We shall make quick work of them!
They got this.
Time to move. We're in the thick of it now.
We'll show these beasts who's in charge. Your timing couldn't be better, Professor Hackett.
Thank you, Professor.
Expelliarmus!
Spells glance off at the
I'm relieved we got here before Ranrock.
I can't believe this is it. The repository's been under the castle for hundreds of years.
Think of all the... Miriam believed this. She did not see what the Keepers have shown you. What Isadora showed you. You, and what do you...
I have decided to open the repository. Its power cannot lie dormant for centuries.
After every...
Isadora knew she had a remarkable power to help people. I intend to use my ability to finish her work. Build upon it.
But this could go wrong in so many ways. You, of all wizard kind, are wholly aware of the potential cost.
I also know the promise.
The arrogance of wizard kind. Goblins built this repository. It belongs to us.
Enough, Ranrock. It was never yours.
I've been wanting to play with this.
Miriam's won.
If she'd simply handed over the container, all of this could have been avoided. Foolish, self-important witch. Seems you were two of a kind. She didn't know when to give up either.
It's feeding off the power. Those traces of magic are somehow protecting the dragon. I need to break its connection to those traces of magic. Deposit. That did the trick. I have you now, Ranrock. Bombard. Accio. You can't stop me! Stupid! Deposit! Two sources of power! You can't run forever, Ranrock.
Give up now.
There's nowhere to hide now.
There is swift.
Places. Expelliarmus. Accio. Bombard. Not so powerful now. Are you, Ranrock? Expelliarmus.
This cannot be happening. You will die.
I know you're feeling it now, Ranrock. This ends here, Ranrock.
You think you can stop me?
Accio. I will defeat you. In Lodgok's memory. This is for Professor Fig. Glacier. Expelliarmus. Thank you, Miriam. Forever.
Professor Eleazar Fig. I dare say he was a beloved professor to many of you, certainly a long-standing colleague to his peers. A famed adventurer and seeker of knowledge, he built a reputation charging into the unknown, brazenly disregarding both discretion and safety, providing perhaps a rather unfortunate lesson for us all. His devotion to adventure was rivaled only by his dedication to Hogwarts. And of course, to his wife, Miriam, whom we lost much too soon as well.
Professor Fig represented the best of all of us. He could be deviously clever, possessed a brilliantly inquisitive mind, and was the most loyal of friends. But perhaps it was his remarkable courage, for which we will all be forever indebted to him. If not for Professor Fig, well, I can say with confidence that if not for him, many of us, let alone Hogwarts, would not be here today. Those that knew him best will agree that we must now honor him as only Hogwarts can, by wisely, resourcefully, justly, and bravely facing all that lies ahead.
To Professor Fig!
Please meet me as soon as possible.
Can't believe we lost Fig. Glad Weasley spoke.
Sebastian.
I hope so.
Sebastian.
I heard a rumor that he confronted you as...
The rumors are true, and the same words Anne heard before she was cursed.
Wait. What?
It wasn't one of Ranrock's loyalists who cursed Anne. It was Rook.
This can't be. It was the loyalists. It's...
Once Rookwood allied with Ranrock, Isadora's estate. That's why Rookwood was there the night Anne was cursed. He was working with Ranrock. When he saw your sister, well, he didn't want anyone to know.
So he cursed her. And she's never been the same. So cruel. Thank you for telling me. All this time I thought, God, Ominos said he's spoken with Anne.
tried to speak with you.
Are you in some...
Nearly attacked by a wall? I don't suppose.
Yes, I have some.
Oh, thank you. I feel better already.
Revelio. Revelio. Confringo. 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 Revelio.
Expelliarmus. Confringo. Glacius. Defender.
That's so careful.
Bombarda. Accio.
Dangerous ground.
Expelliarmus. You regret that. Glacius. Defender.
Incendia!
Don't worry.
Your guns are in.
I think I might rather it.
Oh, that's good.
Glacius.
Expulsor!
Defender.
What?
Potato. Stupid.
No! Incendia! Coward!
Glacius.
You've come to the wrong place.
Time to teach someone a lesson.
Glacius. Defender.
Did you?
That was a mistake. Incendia. Glacius. Confringo. Expulsor. Potato. Stupefy. Expelliarmus. Incendia. Glacius. Defender.
Oh, I'm going to enjoy this. Damn you.
Expelliarmus. Confringo.
The darkness will swallow you.
Glacius.
Leviosa. Out the view.
Defender. Confringo. Potato. Stupefy.
Leviosa.
Expelliarmus. Confringo. Glacius. Defender.
The Sloth Investor's Bite-Sized Summary of the Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Summary point 1, the accumulation stage and the wealth preservation stage. J.L. Collins outlines 2 distinct stages in the journey towards
Shogun is the new FX Samurai show. It's based on the extremely popular book of the same name, and there was also another miniseries based on the book in the 80s that was massively successful worldwide. Seriously, ask your parents and grandparents about that 80s show. It was so popular that when episodes aired, restaurants and establishments saw a decrease in business since so many people stayed home. Shogun is set in 1600 during the late Sengoku period in Japan, also known as the Warring States period. Not that one. The Sengoku period was the most violent, bloody, and ruthless time in Japanese history. Civil wars and social upheavals occurred almost continuously in the 15th and 16th century. The story follows Toranaga, a feudal lord who's on the brink of going to war. Japan is in a state of uncertainty since their previous leader, the Taiko, recently died, and his heir is still a child. The battle for power behind the scenes is intense. Many characters are actively playing the Game of Thrones, whilst trying to upkeep a front of cordiality and politeness. None of the lords want to be the one to start the war since they're mostly evenly matched, and the one that begins the war will most likely be deemed a traitor to the late Taiko and the heir, and be blamed for ending this relative time of peace and sentenced to death. Toranaga himself is a well-respected samurai with feats in both the Korean War and many civil wars of Japan. While he doesn't seek to be shogun, many of the other feudal lords in this council of regents don't believe him, and fear that he might be trying to usurp the young heir and become a shogun, a title exclusive to samurai that are high-born from the three royal bloodlines. Toranaga happens to be Minowara, one of the bloodlines that had shoguns in the past. While no one wants to outright war, Toranaga's enemies put all their effort behind trying to outmaneuver him and get him out of the picture. This is a time in Japan where treason is always met with death, and respect is the very foundation of their society. Even one of Toranaga's stature as a feudal lord and member of the council is held to the same standard. Here enters John Blackthorne, the main character and the audience's eyes into this new complex world. Blackthorne is an intelligent man who excels at his job, fluently speaking Dutch, Latin and Portuguese. He's an English pilot serving on the Dutch warship Erasmus. You see, during this period, the Portuguese, backed by Spain, were at war with the Dutch, backed by England. The Portuguese were the first to land in Japan and therefore had monopolies in the trade routes in the east. Portuguese priests were the only Europeans in the world that were allowed to reside in Japan. Netherlands and England wanted to discover where this mysterious island of Japan was, so they collaborated, and the English pilot Blackthorne with the Dutch warship set off to locate the islands of Japan with his fleet. Don't worry about spoilers, this is all set up stuff in the first chapter, and the first couple episodes skipped most of the setup shit, so you're good. Anyway, after some problems, Blackthorne and a few of his crew crash land on Japan on the coast of Enjiro, a province under the control of Toranaga, and like that, our main character is thrown into the world of the samurai. Moving on to other characters. First off, the Portuguese characters. Rodriguez, the main pilot for the Portuguese and somewhat of a parallel to Blackthorne. While they're quite different, both excel as pilots and are smarter than they look. He's set to pilot this year's Black Ship, who takes huge profits from the silk trade between China and Japan. Japan didn't have a navy at the time, so the Portuguese were making a fortune at basically extorting them. He knows some basic fundamental Japanese, but doesn't have the patience for their politeness and customs and bowing. Martin Alvito, also known as Father Alvito, is a senior Jesuit priest, a man renowned for his intelligence. He is the first foreigner who can not only speak and read Japanese but do so at a native level. He is fundamentally diametrically opposed to Blackthorne and everything he represents. An English Protestant pirate, and while Alvito is honor-bound to translate faithfully, it is unknown what deeper machinations he is working toward. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Used as an interpreter for Blackthorne. While she isn't as skilled as Alvito, she speaks Portuguese well enough to translate for her. She is a vessel of Toranaga and deathly devoted to him, as is expected of all vessels. She functions as somewhat of a life coach for Blackthorne, since feudal Japanese life is so different to 1600 England. Imagine the culture shock. Ishido. Ishido, like Toranaga, is one of the daimyo or feudal lords. He's on the opposite side of Toranaga and an eternal rival of his. He, like many other daimyo, are somewhat intimidated by Toranaga and is renowned as a warrior and strategist and his highborn lineage. Ishido also believes, like many others, that Toranaga wants to be shogun, no matter how many times he denies it. Ishido is a successful samurai in his own right with many vassals and servants to his name. He's a formidable potential foe if he were to ever go to war with Toranaga, which explains why both are so reluctant to do so and play the political game instead. Ishido is also more interested with the Portuguese population than Toranaga is, and more open to collaboration with them. What will Ishido do And how far will this Game of Thrones continue between him and Toranaga? Lord Yabu. Lord Yabu is a cunning samurai vassal of Toranaga's. Since one of his rivals is a vassal of the Ishido, he joins the side of Toranaga under the premise that he will get his enemy's land and him, if they do go to war. He doesn't have much power and runs the region that Blackthorn crash lands in, which is Izu if I remember correctly. Although that region still falls under Toranaga's control, there are smaller regions that individual smaller lords have. He's a cruel and dangerous samurai with ambitions of his own. He recognizes that the arrival of Blackthorn and the Erasmus warship is a way to increase his power and prosperity. As a vassal of Toranaga's, he is also quite the warrior with many feats of strength and resilience in the book. What will he do and how far will his ambitions go? Omi. Omi is the loyal nephew and vassal of Yabu. Since Yabu is the vassal of Toranaga's, he works directly under him as well. While he is cruel, he is not as cruel as his uncle and possibly more cunning than him, with many showings of intelligence and forethought throughout the book. Omi is actually one of the samurai that live in the village Blackthorn crash lands near, and therefore is one of the first Japanese people Blackthorn ever meets. He quickly learns the brutal, cutthroat way that the samurai run the country. Omi, like his uncle, is a capable warrior, and so fast with his blade that Blackthorn questions if a human can even move that fast when he first sees him use it. He supports his uncle Yabu in his ambitions, knowing that however far Yabu goes will carry him along the way. A rising tide, after all, lifts all ships. What are Yabu and his nephew Omi up to, and will they be successful? That's it for all the major characters for now. Sure, there are more characters in the book, but they're introduced somewhat later and their explanations require context of the plot, which would be a spoiler, and I'm not trying to do that. Shogun is quite a long book with over 1,000 pages and multiple plot lines. They have a lot of story to work with and there are easy ways to adapt it, since some of the stuff can be cut out and not affect the overall story. Honestly, I'd recommend reading the book. It's long, but one of the best books I've ever read and such a great story. Or in short,
read, nigga, read!
Surrounded by an unknown people in a land filled with his enemies, the Portuguese. What will happen to John Blackthorn and the other characters in this thrilling story? Find out in the upcoming series, Shogun. Alright, so I wrote that script like a week before the first 2 episodes dropped. While I was editing this video, I have since watched the first 2 episodes, so I'm going to speak about those. Episode 1. First things first, the sets, when both in CGI and practical, look amazing. They're dark when they need to be, while still showing the vibrancy of Japan in other more peaceful scenes. The production value is impeccable and FX really put their all behind it. The armor of the samurai looks authentic and cool. I'm no historian, but they look close enough from what I've seen. They really put in the effort in this adaptation and tried to make it look as good as possible production-wise, and I'm so thankful. This book popularized Japanese culture in the West quite a lot, so to see this level of care in the depiction of old Japan is heartwarming. I gotta say, man, the casting is perfect. Blackthorn, Toranaga, Yabu, Omi, Mariko were all perfectly cast. Production so far, as a whole, 10 out of 10. I can't complain. Now for the plot. For episode 1, they skipped quite a lot of the early chapters, I'll be honest, or they ran through them very fast. Toranaga's meeting with the regents doesn't happen until much later in the book. Also, Blackthorn and his crew have a longer arc when they first land. They aren't immediately thrown into the pit. Another thing is that once they are thrown in the pit is meant to be so small that not all of them can sit down at the same time, and they have to take turns sitting. They literally had sitting and standing shifts in the book. Compared to that, the pit in the show doesn't really seem too bad, but that's just a nitpick. It doesn't really impact the story overall, so I'm not really mad. It was just something I noticed. I really like the tone so far. I thought they might soften it to glamorize samurai a bit, since that really happens often in Hollywood and like TV. They like to glamorize samurai a lot, but it's just as brutal as the book. That being said though, even the torture and the whole process to even get to the torture scene with the boiling crewmate is kind of rushed. In the book, there is this long conversation in the pit, and they draw straws to see who will die because Blackthorn wasn't comfortable with choosing someone. They thought it would be more fair to just put her up to fate. The person who draws the short straw doesn't even actually die, and they decide to fight back, and eventually the samurai just grab someone from out the pit, and the crew all ridden with guilt because they realized that an innocent man who wasn't meant to die died, while the guy who drew the short straw gets to live. It was a great scene in the book, but again, it's a 1,000-page story, so I understand some stuff having to be cut for the sake of pacing and time and the overarching story. since that scene isn't that impactful, all things considered. I'm surprised they changed the timeline so much though, but I get it makes sense for better TV. Toranaga being at the council while Blackthorn is being dealt with by Omi and Yabu makes sense from a TV standpoint, obviously needing to have an A and B plot in an episode. I just wish they chose a different event because the meeting with the council was so much more significant in the book. Pretty much life and death, and starting out with it before getting any of the context of the situation kind of takes the oomph out of it. We readers know why Toranaga is there and what it means for him, but for someone who's a TV only, it just looks like a tense meeting. None of the implications are really clear. The context makes the situation so much more engaging. The piss scene shook out pretty much the same way in the book. Some small changes, but the gist of the scene was right there. Very humiliating and sobering moment for IMC. I also like how they depict the lack of understanding. Japanese and English/Portuguese are so different that it would be so hard to communicate, especially at this point in history. They must have sounded like aliens to each other. Another thing I loved is Blackthorn's voice. Holy shit, I don't know what the actor is doing. It's not what I imagined, and I love the audiobook version, but I love this take too. It feels very rough and weathered, which is fitting for a man who spends his time on the seas as a pilot. I'm sure all that yelling he does on his ships has had an effect on his voice. Great choice by the actor, because I'm pretty sure he doesn't usually speak that way. I also like the actor for Yabu too. He looks as devious as he was described in the book, and man, they really went there with that boiling water torture scene. I know I mentioned it earlier, but fuck, it was very brutal. In the book, they just kind of described a man screaming, and it went to different characters and how they felt about this guy screaming throughout the whole night. And it was still kind of brutal, but hearing it and seeing it, it was just a different level of gruesomeness. So props to the show for showing that. And I'm glad they've depicted Yabu as the sicko he is in the book. One thing I will say they did change is his sexual habits, because in the book, maybe it was implied, but in the book, that like fucking teenage boy that was in the room with the girl is involved in the sex scene. I would just say pederasty was very prevalent in samurai Japan, but obviously I get no one's trying to see that shit. I understand why they wouldn't include it on a TV show, but for the sake of historical accuracy, I just thought I'd say. Also, the book did include it, so. But I think maybe it's implied. I don't know. Let me know if you're a TV only. Did you think that was implied? I wonder if they'll at least address the pederasty thing in samurai culture, because there is a fairly significant scene later when a character is offered a courtesan and given the choice between a female, a male, or a male boy, and loses his mind in disgust. It was a pretty big scene in the book, so I don't really know how they could go around it, because obviously sodomy is a big thing in Catholic and Protestant religions, like, you know, it's a big no-no, so maybe they just cut out the scene. Either way, even without all that, Yabu is still clearly shown as a fucking monster. Rodriguez, my favorite character by the way, is also introduced much sooner than he is in the book, and seems like he'll have a bigger role, which I'm a fan of, to be fair. Their dynamic was so fun to read in the book. Two pilots with mutual respect and possibly even a friendship, but on two separate sides of the war and sworn enemies in a foreign land. It's one of the most interesting dynamics in the show. The actor for Rodriguez also played him so well. He's funny, charming, just as formidable as Blackthorn, and I'm glad they got that right. I think the actor that plays him is the man in black from Lost. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the same guy. Always been an excellent actor. Again, can't complain. The cast and director did his job. Episode 2. Starting the episode with a flashback to the end of the Taiko's life was a nice change. Seems like they're trying to make Toranaga a bit more of a sympathetic character, or maybe it's just because Hiroyuki Sanada is so likable. Seeing the formation of the Council of Regents now was great, and I'm glad we got to see the context of the meeting of the Council from the last episode. It established what the situation is in 5 minutes or so the viewers know the significance of Toranaga's situation. I didn't like the order of events in the last episode, but with the clarification at the beginning of episode 2, I'm not too mad at it. The creators definitely knew what they were doing by putting the meeting of the Council of Regents that early, and they knew that the importance of that meeting needed to be clarified as soon as possible, so I'm glad they clarified it at the beginning of episode 2. Pretty much everything in this episode is now following the book to a T. Toranaga's meeting with Blackthorn, the following meeting with his confidants about Blackthorn, Blackthorn being sent to the prison, and Toranaga's plan to sow division between the Christian lords and Ishido. All of that was ripped straight out of the book. One thing I will say is that the prison in the book, again, was said to be super tightly packed with prisoners shoulder to shoulder. The samurai didn't believe in giving prisoners spacious areas in the book, and I don't really think anyone in the Middle Ages were giving prisoners spacious cells and stuff. In the book, Blackthorn has to fight for a spot to sit at, but all the imprisonment scenes in the show have been very pleasant and commodious, and it's just a bit weird considering that in the book, Blackthorn literally struggles with his imprisonment due to the sheer uncomfort, whereas in the show, he's just kind of chilling, wondering if he will die or not. It's not necessarily a complaint of mine, more so just something that I really noticed, because again, that's not really that that important to the overall story since they kind of sped through that part. I guess it would have been too much of a hassle to show a space that confined. Maybe they wanted to make sure that the audience can see the main actor's face. I don't know, I feel like that wouldn't have been that difficult to film both the pit and the prison, but whatever, it's not that deep. I guess the directors just took a bit of creative liberty on this. The rest of the episode was adapted pretty much one-to-one. I like the pacing so far. It's somewhat fast, but for an 8 to 10 episode miniseries, I'm not sure how long this series is going to be. I think it's 10 episodes. It makes sense. Toranaga's conversation with Blackthorn about the Portuguese, Spanish, and the New World was ripped straight out of the book, and his slight smirk when Blackthorn said unless he wins was exactly how I imagined it would be. After 2 episodes, I'm pretty confident that they will adapt this well. All the creative liberties they've taken up until now have made sense, and they've still maintained the core elements of the story and the book while keeping the integrity of the original product. I'm still a bit worried about the rushed pace, I'll be honest. I wish they just let certain scenes breathe a little, like the one in the prison. However, I'm hoping that they're kind of rushing through the preliminary stuff so that the later on stuff has more time to breathe, and then they can just let certain situations sit for a while like they did in the book and expand on certain stuff in the book maybe that the book wasn't able to expand on, like the somewhat controversial abrupt ending. However, I will also admit that is all from a point of view of someone who hasn't read the book or like a PV only viewer. As a book reader myself, I love the pacing, and I'm just loving this show as a whole. And I think all of the fans of the book will enjoy it. Since I already have all the context in mind, to me it's just seeing everything come to life that is the most enjoyable part of this, and seeing it's acted so well. While I was a little skeptical about how non-book readers and casual viewers would receive it, the show seems to be doing very well with reviews so far, and fans alike. And hopefully it continues to, so we can get an adaptation of Taipan, another book by the author of Shogun, James Clavell, which is considered by some to be better than Shogun. While I personally prefer Shogun, because I just think samurai culture is cooler, I think Taipan is right up there with Shogun, and probably a better written book. It's more evenly paced, and it does have more action, so I think it would actually transfer better to a mini-series than even Shogun would. It's set in 1800s China and is a swashbuckling adventure that focuses on pirates, triads, and much, much more, with the formation of the Hong Kong colony in there, as well as Britain's relationship with China during the 100-year of humiliation, where they basically just kept fucking sunning them, and a bunch of other stories. It's just a truly wide-scaled adventure. And I think Struan, the main character from that book, might be, I don't know, I might prefer him over Blackthorn. Nah, I prefer Blackthorn, but Struan's a real one. So hopefully this series does good enough so that we can get that one. Either way though, they've done a great job, and I can't wait for episode 3. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more. I've tried to drop a new video once a week. Sometimes I'll be bullshitting, but I'm trying to get more consistent and drop a video once a week. So if you subscribe, appreciate the support.